Howdy doody! Is part 3 of our very, very, very long Zerg daily. It's 8:20 ordinarily. It's like 7:55 right now. Playing like a 20-minute segment. This one I think will also be long. Yay! We talked about Zerg optimization. In part 1, we talked about it in a theoretical sense, and then we watched this game from Archon that gave us kind of an idea of what we wanted to optimize. In part 2, we went for it and tried to do the optimization of it without really worrying about some attacking, which seemed unrealistic. We did it first, just trying to get a sense of ordering, and we found that there were some bumps when missing those overlords. So what we did in the second half of part 2 is just made sure we always hit our injects and always built those overlords, and we had frickin' more drones than we knew what to do with. We had so much larva. And now that we're in that position, what we're going to do is pretend we have some attacks that are going to come at us. Let me, again, fast forward a little bit. Let's say you are actually doing this on your own. You played maybe 4 or 5 games, tried to wing this build we saw Archon do in part 1. You've played maybe 5, 6 games in single player, just optimizing when you're not getting attacked, and now it's time to look at what the status of our build is. This is kind of the ordering that we're feeling good with. Hatch gas pool at the start. Then we're going to take a layer and build our second gas. Then we're going to build our baneling nest and 2 more gas. Actually, don't need to be abbreviatory there. Bane nest, 2 more gas. And then maybe a 3rd hatch in an evo chamber when we can afford it. And then maybe an expansion in an evo chamber when we can afford it. I'll just put spire when layer's done. And then after all that is Roach Warren and Infester. I'm going to leave it in this format so that way you, the viewer, sort of sees what my personal plan is. If you are at home optimizing a build, you're going to have things in your head like, okay, my layer should be starting at 622. I should pull guys out of gas after I get 100. And then I should put guys in after my first inject. You're going to have more specific things in your brain because you did step 2 and refined it. You compared it to what you were doing and you found that it was in good shape. We're going to be doing this add component last of all by applying it to this evolution chamber idea of when the hell do we get our evolution chambers up. But now I want to step down, Zerg, keys, and note that we just optimized for non-attack conditions. So now we're going to pretend that there's an attack coming at 6 or 8 or 10 minutes. What I will be doing in this game is I'll be doing in this segment is pretending there's an attack at 6 and then pretending there's an attack at 8 that I need to deal with. So I'm going to go ahead and start things up and begin my little process of optimization. I probably stopped for a moment and said, what can I die to? Well, at the 6-minute mark, I can die to Hellions, so I'll pretend that that happens. If he doesn't attack at 6, there's no real attack at 8 that can happen. The only real follow-up attack he can do is something around 10. Go, Overlord. Go off into the distance. And likewise, if he doesn't attack at 8, there's not really many attacks that he can follow up with at 10. Damn it, drone, get rallied, kid. Excuse me.
We require more minerals.
I maybe decided that I also liked to build my Overlord on 9.
More minerals.
Seems good.
We require more minerals.
So I'm feeling pretty content with my fancy schmancy little build order. In fact, I'm feeling downright cool. I kind of want to go into my classroom and be like, hello ladies. I know how to the Zergs. Now, one thing I'll note is I get this question a lot. Why not practice against a computer? Why not do that? Because you don't know exactly what the computer's going to do. We're trying to remove the element of randomness when we're optimizing so we see how things feel. Early Hellion harasses coming at 6 minutes are very, very typical. Incredibly typical, as a matter of fact. So we want to be able to guarantee no BS happening at 4 minutes where some dumb computer attacks us with 6 Marines out of the blue. Oops, didn't send this thing because I was talking about computers. We don't want that. So we're just going to do little control scenarios. after we've done this, and we get our 6-minute, 8-minute attack timings good, and we're feeling good about that, then maybe, yeah, sure, maybe we could try to play against a computer. Don't want to do it too much sooner. Also, in the course of playing, oopsie daisies, I accidentally my mind was wandering, and I built the spawning pool a little bit late. I built it at 17 instead of 16. But we might have decided that, you know what, we were building our Overlord on 17. I prefer building it on 18. This is the timing I actually like quite a bit more. Let me send you to mine, or send it to the extractor at 18 instead. And with 30 seconds left, I'm finding, yeah, I like this timing. Here's a very minor adjustment, but what we'll actually see is that this pool and Overlord sync up almost exactly. I'm so ill. Again, this is the 6-minute pretend attack. There's the Overlord finishing, right in sync with the pool. I'm feeling happy that I got to get out my much earlier research. My Overlord will have gotten to the front of his base and helped give me an idea of what he's up to. And I'll also note, again, people do this illusion where there's just too much for Zerg. You have to be completely, totally responsive. Against Terran, it's like 6, 8, and 10, and that's about it. And those are about the times with a lot of Protoss attacks too, around 6, 8, and 10. And if he does an early expand, it's like 8, 10, and 12. It seems to be in like numbers of 2. Just start watching a lot of GSL, or just breeze through, I don't know, Husky's casts, and just see, oh yeah, look at that. It's like on 6, 8, 10, 12. It seems to be reasonable timings for it. Or if you're Korean, you can do it 30 seconds sooner. Oh.
Game resumed.
Oops, didn't build a queen there. Oh, crap. That was bad. I was busy talking and have been completely botching this optimization. No big deal. So how long does a spine crawler take to build? You can note it's 50 seconds. So we actually don't need to build our spine crawler until close to 5. So I can actually build the spine crawler now. And as much as I am detesting myself for having built this Overlord late, I'm still going to stick with it and emphasize how nice it is to have these 2 different hotkeys. So, we have control over the Zelnaga watchtowers. Alright, at least I'm getting Zergling speed. Here's my 2 Overlords finishing up. I may have wanted to cut back on one. It's not the biggest deal, though. And then let's say, Ermagerd, this dude attacked. I am going to build 3 drones out of here because ordinarily this queen would have popped out on time. So I would have built the drones anyways.
Game resumed.
But what we're going to do is, again, 1, 2, 3. We're going to just pretend and make believe. Oh god, I might have to redo this. I might have to redo all of segment 3. This is so bad. The fact that I botched that other queen. Oh my god, as I was talking about that, I messed the queen up. Okay, screw this. Screw this. Screw this. Screw this. Look, I messed up. This is one of the problems with me trying to talk and play at the same time. The thing that I did completely fine in part 2 just frickin' failed at. I missed my frickin' second queen. That is hilarious. Alright. Alright. Alright, here we go. It's gonna be a long daily, I said that. This is actually one of the reasons why I tend to try to keep the daily into like 22-minute segments-ish. Because actually, my brain is not functional at that point in time. Yeah, that was awesome. Alright, guys. I'm gonna be playing against nobody. I can do it. I like how the return to game screen noise is like super ominous sounding. Do 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 do. Triumphant music. Ba ba da ba ba da 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 da. All right, let's try this again with some more realisticness coming in. I'm gonna send this first Overlord right here. We're building this guy. Oh yeah.
We require more minerals. We require more minerals.
instead of doing it at 6 and 8, it looks like, tragically, I will likely be doing it at just 6 and comparing it to the previous game. Day 9 messed up. He totally screwed up. No big deal, though. I totally got this, yo. I threw yo at the end because, much like a rapper, when I can't figure out what to rhyme it with, I say frickin' yo, man. It rhymes with something else. Excellent. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. What is that song from? Is that Indiana Jones? Might be Indiana Jones. Day 9, your build belongs in a museum.
We require more minerals.
Oh, it's 18, is it? Oh, nice. Indiana Jones. Yes.
Require more minerals.
Belongs in a museum, fool. Indiana 18. Great. So, I want to re-emphasize something I was saying previously. When we have an order, if we are getting attacked at some point, we simply delay our order. We simply delay. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
Game resumed.
Woo! Almost built an overlord. Day 9 getting sloppy. I like placing my pool here because it makes me feel like my drones are taking smarter paths. Oh, relic from Brood War. Oh, yes. Okay, these two guys. 0. 0, click there. Oh. Don't do that. Alright, at 18, I did my usual thing. Built myself my extractor, stopped building them units, and now I want to rally ho. And rally there. And it makes the Star Trek logo. Guys, look at me, I built 2 queens. Who's the boss? Day 9's a boss. Also, your overlord at the front will likely be able to get some information as to what's going on. We're not going to worry too frickin' much about him. We are going to be building ourselves Oberlorde coming up. So sometimes on some maps you'll be able to get your overlord to do some spottings. On other maps, you might have to, say, scout with a worker. Not a huge deal. Why am I building it at 5:30 and not earlier? Or 4:30 and not earlier? Because, I dare say, the earliest he can attack us about is 6 minutes. So as long as we build it a little before 5 minutes, the spine crawler will finish in plenty of time. So we just did some injects. Let's go ahead and make ourselves Das Oberlorden. Overlord should be popping out in just a moment. There it is! Look at that! Oh, I'm so... Oh my god, an attack's coming. So, despite me just having a good time, yelling away, doing all that sort of thing, I'm just gonna respond by going, oh yeah, there's... Oh my god, there's Hellions. Huh. Let's just delay in a fairly calm, intuitive way. So let me pause at this point in time. Now let's say I want to respond by building some zerglings and an extra queen. I'm thinking to myself, dang, I really do not want to get overly eager about, you know, building a ton of zerglings. I certainly do not want that. Here's my overlord, he's about to pop out. So I might be like, okay, queen. And then back to drone production. I might build this forward like this. He can't get to me. Alright, I'm feeling confident now. Let me return back to mining. A-okay. I have my zerglings here. Oops, these 4 should be there as well. And I'm spending a lot of my time just looking up in the top right, making sure that I have enough overlords. I'm not being amazing about my overlord production. But this thus far has been pretty gosh dang easy. Now, I will come back here and note again. If for some reason he hasn't expanded yet, he's probably going to be doing something at 8. Like with a Banshee or a Medevac. He just cannot be mounting a gigantic Marine and Hellion offensive and be expanding. This is just not possible. So let's assume we did see an expand.
Game resumed.
We would go, oh, okay, man. Oh, not a big deal. And I will just ask you what the intuitive thing to do is. Well, we a little bit behind on our layer. Ah, I'm out of pauses. So I just threw down all my gases at the same time. Why is that? Because I basically collapsed these together. This is so frustrating being out of pauses. I'll just say this as succinctly as I can. You resume onward with your ordering as quickly as you humanly possibly can. Now, what I will actually do, so that way we can get a bonus game in, is I'm going to go to the score screen, and I'm going to ask, what went wrong with this transition? The biggest thing that went wrong is I couldn't keep pausing because I ran out of pauses. And this is the moment. This is the most important moment of part 3. Where suddenly you say, well, okay, Day 9, I went for hatch gas pool, and then in here, pretended attack was coming. I did this. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. Layer gas, and I guess 2 more gas and bail. You just went for these as quickly as you could, but what did you see in this game? We saw a hell of a lot of money pooling up at the top. We saw this money get really, really high. It is at this moment when people say, how can I possibly have a plan at all? How can I possibly have a plan when I build the Zergling speed, I built my frickin' spine, and then I had to build all these extra Zerglings? I will actually posit the quiz to chat.
Metamorphosis complete.
What is going wrong? I actually just looked at it. It's at this moment when people are like, okay, here I'm getting all my gases before my layer. Things are getting completely out of whack. Oh my god, what's going wrong? The issue was that, pretty simply, in our build optimization, we put guys back in gas too late. And this is the most common thing that people will do. I intentionally did not put guys back in gas when I ordinarily want to. Why is that? Because when an attack is coming, most people just go, I have to abandon everything. I have to abandon ship and just focus on defending the attack, and now my build is all out of balance. Here, I should have already had guys back in gas, but the fact is I waited until after I had thought of all my attacking defense-based stuff. And notice that this is nothing more than an ordinary build where I get an extra queen and some Zerglings. This is actually very similar to the way a Terran or Protoss build would look. What did we do last week? We said, I want to try this Hellion into 2 base, Hellion Marauder all in. Cool. So when we opened with it, we built some Hellions while trying to constantly build workers and depots, but then we stopped Hellion production. And we optimized around that. So, notice that my first question in my building loop, am I making enough defenses to not die? Looks like yeah. And what did I pretend? Oh, he's not expanding. Okay, so cool. So cool. I actually do have enough defenses. I think that some lings and these queens are going to be more than enough with the spine. So I'm feeling pretty good. Maybe I play some more games and decide I need 16 lings. Maybe I play some more games and decide I only need 8. Whatever I decide, I then go, well, shit. My non-attacked conditions build order, totally good. My 6-minute pretend he's attacking build order needs the following simple adjustment. When was I putting guys back into gas before? Was it 6 minutes? Was it 6:15? Wow, it was 6:30. You know what? I'm going to try putting them into gas at around 5:40 or so. I'm going to try doing something like that. And, well, Dana, you said that attacks were going to come around 6 minutes or so. Yeah, and you're going to get some information as to what's up. If you scout up here and you see just Marines and a barracks, you know he's not doing some sort of early Hellion pressure, and you're totally fine. What if you put guys back in gas, and then you see a gigantic attack coming? You can just pull 1 or 2 out of gas. But what I want to do now, in the third game, which should have been game 2, which is why I apologize for going late, we're going to do that optimization so that we can hopefully see how not so different things are when we pretend that there's an attack that happens at 6 minutes. You see why that was so painful for me to have botched that one game? See why that stung me? Stung me right in the heart. It stung me in the heart! And now I start things up. So let's go ahead and do some pretending things. And I want to just note the huge difference between the non-attack condition and the he attacks at 6-minute conditions. I'm going to boil it down to a simple statement.
We require more minerals.
I know what I'm doing if he doesn't attack me at all. But if he is attacking me, I just got to make sure I get guys in gas a little earlier. Period. Done. Done. That's it. That's the entire statement. This is what actually makes Zerg quite straightforward in a number of ways. Oops, I'm not in the game. This is what makes Zerg quite straightforward in a lot of ways. In that, in terms of optimizing a lot of builds, you can boil stuff down in that nice way. Now, a lot of people are saying things like, well, I mean, you watch super top Zergs like Dongray Goo, or recently Idra's been streaming a lot, and he's been doing some really sick, subtle timing defenses, making big adjustments based on little tiny details the opponent is doing. I will emphasize to you that this is Newbie Tuesday. If you are in Grandmaster League watching this to figure out how to get ahead, I would not be surprised if some of this might be totally freaking obvious to you. The goal for this is to emphasize how to get into Grandmaster League, and once you're, or how to get, I would say, out of lower leagues. You're not going to just get in Grandmaster by watching today's episode. The idea is that when you get really high up, you have an excellent sense for subtlety. When you are not really high up, things feel completely overwhelming, and it's so easy to just put it into nice little groups. And I see poor cheese annoying chat talking about how he doesn't get integration. Integration in mathematics. To you, I'll just say use the Orca method. Orca. Yeah. So I'll step back into imaginary land. At the start of the daily, I'm gonna walk through the process as though you are actually trying to optimize your builds yourself. You start off, you watch GSL, you get inspired from a Zerg player, you play a couple of games with this idea in mind, and you start getting a feel for it. Then you record benchmark timings for what you feel like was your absolute best play. You then play maybe 5 to 10 games, probably closer to the 5 end of things, just trying to order your buildings right and get a sense of what your build feels like when you're not messed with. If you sense things like, wow, I'm actually getting way frickin' far behind in terms of defense, I'm going to build a spine crawler early on. If you do that, totally fine. But first you're going to get an ordering down and see how it feels. Then you're just going to deal with some basic attack timings right at the start of the game. See how those feel for you. and do the re-optimizations built around those. There's my Overlord popping out, so that I can build past my critical 28 supply. Alright, right around this time, oops, my Zerglings that are totally obedient and awesome have decided to do things like head off to their destiny. Da-da, ba-da. So this is where I would ordinarily put dudes back into gas. Doo-doo. I might go, oh, gotta build myself a spine crawler. Who doesn't love themselves a spine crawler? And then I go, oh my god, he's attacking me. Let me pull dudes out of gas for just a moment. I'm gonna pull dudes out of gas for just a moment, and then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back to Zergling production. Oops, didn't do the inject. My bad.
We require more minerals.
And then I'm going to... See, I have like 2 guys still in gas right there. And as I'm optimizing, I may be saying things like, oh, you know, I don't quite have enough for that extra queen. No big deal. I'm gonna build the layer right away.
Require more minerals.
And this type of thing. Oops. Inject. Inject.
Metamorphosis complete.
I made way too many Zerglings. Way too freaking many Zerglings. And, wow, jeez. God, I'm so bad at talking and playing at the same time. Screw it. I'm just gonna keep going. Oh my god! We build around 12 Zerglings and we felt good. I built freaking like 30 Zerglings. Man, my brain is elsewhere as hell today. However, I'm still just gonna play ahead because I ain't restarting anymore. I ain't restarting no more at all. Alright, so then I'm going to continue along, getting my second gas and my Baneling nest. And I'm doing... Oh, dude, guys, I messed this game up so bad. Dude, I'm so embarrassed! Ah! Dude, okay, I'm just going to eat it hard right here at the end, at the conclusion of my daily. Oh my god. Oh no. See, it's now 8:47 and we're learning very quickly why the show format is around an hour of content. I'm just not that good at talking and playing at the same frickin' time. Etc. Be a better gamer, you guys. Fantastic. This is what I'll end up probably doing in this coming month of Optober. I will actually play in advance without talking and just show the simple product. Just be able to go, now look at the fact that I did that. I kind of believe in the idea of playing through these. Just so you can sort of see what the experience is like. And in all honesty, in retrospect, I'm kind of surprised that last time I did the optimization, it actually went so smoothly when I sat down and played. Just because when you're playing in single player, stuff like this will happen a good amount. Right? I built 30 Zerglings. Next time, I'm just going to go, damn it, just with 1 round of larva. Build the Zerglings with 1 round of larva, and then stop. Just cut it out after that, right? It's that sort of thing that you just stop and then you come back and you'll actually be surprised at how quickly this ends up occurring. Now, to totally make fun of myself, because honestly this was fucking hilarious, right? I'm like, alright, let's do the daily. Like, freaking got up at 6:30 and took my friend to the airport, and I'm like, no, I'll play and do an extra special Zerg daily. It's gonna be great. I played Zerg and Brood War and got destroyed by the single player, right? That's pretty freaking hilarious. However, I want to note that the reason it might seem so bad is that this is a daily where ordinarily it's crunched down into like an hour, hour and a half time span. And what we're seeing is that me trying to do this build that this fine fellow did, trying to mimic it for the first time ever, probably I only spent 40 minutes total playtime. A lot of that was me pausing and coming back and noting pitfalls and popping out and returning back and noting more pitfalls and coming back and going, oh, I totally messed up, let's reboot. These are the sort of things that if I didn't have the explanation, it's like 30 to 40 minutes of playtime. In fact, within an hour, you will be way better with your build order, even considering a lot of these attacks. And again, 6, 8, 10 tend to be the common timings in the early game versus Terran. 8, 10, 12 tend to be the early timings that Protoss have, because Protosses are early expanding. If they don't early expand, it will be happening around 6 minutes. So it's that sort of thing that probably what I'll end up doing near the end of October is just rounding up some more Zerg games and coming back. For any of you dearly hoping to see the much improved results, I apologize because the daily was going long and I was trying to rush through and talk and be all things at once, and it's just a terrible idea. Tragically, I have to go right now. So tomorrow and on Thursday, I will be doing some laddering. Thursday will be more of my usual, I'm trying to level up. But tomorrow on Wednesday, if you go to day9.tv, I have a listing right there of the show. If you'd be so kind as to post ideas for builds that you would like to see me play as Protoss, go ahead and post it there, and I will happily try them out on Wednesday. So, sincerest lulls for what occurred that time, but fortunately, on next week's episode, on Newbie Tuesday, we're going to be looking at Protoss, fortunately my best race. We'll be looking at Protoss, where we're going to see how optimization is slightly different for their race as well. And again, closer towards the end of the month, we'll definitely be getting some bonus looks at Zerg builds, super optimized. So, see you tomorrow! LOL! Bye, guys! See you later!